Hey everyone, this is Christian from ChillTech, and I'm going to tell you about my experience going from the Apple ecosystem to the Android ecosystem. We'll go over the top 5 most impactful things in that process and go from there. Okay, so how did I get sucked into this Apple ecosystem in the first place? Well, around 2004, 2005, I actually won, somehow, an iPod mini. The silver one, the kind of the small one. And from there, I ended up getting the kind of the classic iPod, 100 gigabyte. Then from there, 2007, when my Windows laptop blew up, fried something, I decided that I had enough money and expendable income to get a MacBook Pro. So that's where I kind of slid in. And from there, 2008, I got my first smartphone. And what was that? The iPhone 3G. Right, fancy, right? From there, the 3GS, and then the 4S, and then the iPhone 6. Okay, so with all this rich history in Apple and apparent loyalty, why would I switch? Well, the first thing was freedom. As you know, iOS is a very closed system. You can't do a lot. In my recent rebirth to my geekdom, I decided that I wanted some more freedom to be able to play with my device, customize, and just do some more fun stuff. So that's why I wanted to go and use the Android system. The second reason I switched is because of parity. At this point, when I look at Android and iOS, they've become almost comparable. They're not equal in every area, but overall, as you look at them, they're very similar, and each is very serviceable, both in devices and in software. So at this point, I thought it was the right time for me to actually make this jump and to learn something new. So let's see what happened with this whole transition process. Okay, so the first big item is messaging. Now, if you're in the iOS ecosystem deep, then you know that there's nothing like iMessage. The way Apple has put all this together and tied it in with their desktop and mobile operating systems is just amazing. Now, I remember back when I had my MacBook laptop, I could answer any text message, not just ones from Apple devices, on my laptop, my iPad, or on my phone. Now, does Android do this? No. On Android, we have the Messenger app, which I use now. I also use Hangouts, and I use Skype. Do I use Allo? No. Don't ask me why. But all of this is pretty fragmented, and this cannot be beat when you compare the two ecosystems. Now, is it a big deal, a huge thing? No, but it is an inconvenience. I do miss that nice elite blue bubble when I'm text messaging all my friends. But other than that, you know, it's okay. But that was kind of a pain point for me, the messaging. Okay, so the second piece we're going to look at is the cable situation. Now, as we know, Apple likes to have the proprietary cables from the iPod up to the iPhone. They had the whatever 30-pin foolishness and then the lightning cable. Now, as we know, with their new MacBooks, it's got like some 4 USB-C cables on it. But their phones do not. So when I switched, now I have to go buy 10,000 USB-C cables, which is okay for me because that is the future. So it's fine, no more proprietary cables with Apple and Lightning and all that kind of thing. So happy about that. So again, I give points to Android for having USB-C in the future. So next item now. Okay, so the third thing is a big deal for me, maybe not for you, and this has to do with game saves and other sync data. Now, again, I'm surprised about how many apps do not have cross-platform syncing, especially for games. I happen to play Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and that one does not have cross-platform. So what I have to do right now is to keep playing my game. I play it on the iPad when I get home from work. To catch up on all my dailies, blah, 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 blah. Again, not a big deal for that game, but it is a pain point if you have several games that you do play. And this also can go into other apps that have cloud saves or other things. Now, I know, this old model is still prevalent, say, if you have a PS4 and an Xbox One. You buy it digitally for PS4, you must also buy it again for Xbox One. We get that. But in mobile, we come to expect that we buy it once, especially if it's a free game with in-app purchases, that we'll still have those if we go cross-platform. And so for me, that's been a pain point trying to figure out which games I'll keep playing, which games I won't play. Thankfully, I don't spend too much money on these games, so it's not a big deal. But if you're gonna spend money on a free-to-play game, make sure you know that you can transfer your data to your new device, because that could be a very, very, very painful thing. Okay, so number 4 is gonna be services. Now, when it comes to services, again, I was on iOS, but I was already using mostly Google services already. So again, I've been using Gmail for a very long time. For all of my contacts, I didn't use the normal iOS Apple contacts. I synced everything and saved it to actually my Google contacts. Because I use Gmail already, so just synced it all and it's very easy in that way. When it comes to cloud saves for documents and things, I use either OneDrive or Google Drive, mostly Google Drive. And so again there, I didn't use Apple's save for anything because again, it doesn't work very well. Now, if you were in the system deep with Apple, you had the laptop and the iPad and the phone, then maybe you were using iCloud, maybe you were really deep in with that, but me, I wasn't. So again, moving to Android from iOS was a very smooth, simple process. And it actually made it even a better experience now because I have all these services built into my device. So it's been great so far. All right, so number 5 is just the general learning curve when moving from one ecosystem to another. Now again, this wasn't a huge deal for me. For many people, it can be very confusing knowing what to press and where to go to find different settings. Now for me, it's been compounded because I'm still using both systems because for work, I still have an iPad. My wife has an iPhone and I have now the Android device. And I also have to have an Android tablet. So now I'm going back and forth between one and the other. And it gets confusing to know when to swipe up, when to swipe down. Do I click the home button? Do I swipe left to right? Do I press the software back button? And all those kind of things. So when you're switching, of course, as you know, there's going to be issues with learning a new system. Now for me, that's actually a plus because I did this in part to learn a new system, to get something new in me and to keep my brain fresh. So for me, I wanted to learn something new, so it's been great. If you're very set in your ways and want to know what you know, then I guess stick with what you're gonna stick with. But just know there's a slight learning curve. Now it's not a huge thing. There are some pain points in there, but again, learning curve was pretty smooth for me. But I guess I'll try to figure out, how do I back button, home button, I don't know. Anyway, thanks. All right, guys, so that's my summary of my experience going from iOS to Android. And as I said, they're so similar now that was pretty smooth, but that was just my experience with those top 5 things. If you have any questions about my experience going from iOS to Android, please leave a comment below with a question. I will answer it personally to let you know how I feel about whatever your question may be. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe and stay tuned with us for more tech videos. All right, guys, take care. Hey everybody, this is Christian here with
Damn it, like that was perfect. He was what's up, like what's up guys, like hey, like he was talking to the audience, damn it.
Did y'all not him go peep in?